Sun's up, I'm smiling slow. Pour that brew, let the blessings flow. Steam rising, faith on 10. Here we go again. Take a sip, take a breath. Ain't no rush, no stress. Got the good book by my side, and that peace I can't hide. Me, Jesus, and my coffee. That's all I need to start my day.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what I think is so amazing? How God's word is truly living and active. I remember when I first learned that. And more importantly, I remembered how it applied. And I remember how it felt when I would read a verse and whatever I was going through, it applied to it. And then I was going through something else and I read the same verse and it felt and meant something completely different. Truly understanding that God's word is living and active is amazing. It is so amazing. Let me explain. Here's why I'm all excited and in my feelings right now, because my quiet time this morning was beautiful. Once I was done saying my prayer, I love listening to a guided prayer. There's this channel on YouTube called Oasis of Prayer. Don't quote me, but I love listening to this channel. The channel is AI driven. So the narration is done, of course, by AI, but it's just something about this voice that I absolutely love. And so this prayer this morning was about the full armor of God. Now, of course, I know the passage and I thought I understood the passage, but the way that he broke it down and made it living and active for me, it did something to me. I felt the Spirit move through me this morning, and it felt so good. It felt so good to truly understand what each piece means. The helmet, the breastplate, the belt, and how we have to stay armored up. Because I'm sure we've all heard the devil prowls around us like a roaring lion, waiting. He doesn't need a foothold, just a sliver. And that sliver can be doubt, fear, anxiety, whatever and however it chooses to manifest itself. It doesn't matter. Y'all, all right. Let's talk. Previously on Beautifully Broken.
Sun's up, I'm smiling slow. Pour that brew, let the blessings flow. Steam rising, faith on 10. Here we go again. Take a sip, take a breath. Ain't no rush, no stress. Got the good book by my side.
All right, we are back in Chicago. The only place we had to go was my husband's grandmother's. So he gets a job, and this is where I applied to Macy's. That position grew. I was promoted. I met beautiful people there. My husband got a job working for Ford Motor Company. I have to admit that all the time that we were in Chicago, my heart was still back in Georgia. Now that you're all caught up, we are back in Georgia. We are staying with my daughter, getting ourselves acclimated to being back, being excited about it. My husband is working for Uber, and I'm just, getting our space ready for us, for our stay with my daughter. And, eventually, of course, I do start to look for a job. I find a job working for this company. And it was called a beauty concierge. And I was working inside of Target stores. I didn't work for Target. I just worked inside Target stores, helping anyone in the cosmetic and beauty and health section of the store. And I loved it, you know? So we're working, of course, and we're both working, of course, and we're feeling okay. I'm happy that we are back in Georgia now. My son decided that he didn't want to come with us this time. So it's just me, my husband, and my youngest daughter. And of course, we have my grandman with us, so he comes back with us. Here we go again, you know, things are going well. We're feeling good, you know, but again, in the back of my mind, that fear and that doubt is looming. And, you know, I hate to admit it, but I did let that simmer. I let it simmer in me, and I was afraid, and I didn't connect it back then, but I know different now. But so we're doing well, and my daughter wants to move from where she is because she's been there for a while. And so she wants to move a little closer to her job. So we moved from there. So she's in Sandy Springs. We moved from Sandy Springs to Marietta. We did not like this apartment. And I don't even think we stayed there 6 months. So by this time, we separate. So my daughter finds her own place. My husband and we find our own place. And I believe from there, we went to Austell. So mind you, this is the third move. Y'all, I lost count with how many times we have moved. And I know that that's nothing new. It's nothing strange. A lot of people move often. But that was the beginning of our journey back in Georgia for the second time. So we moved to Austell. And we're both working, but it's still difficult. My husband had not yet found a more permanent job, but he's still doing, I believe now he's doing Uber and Lyft. And I don't know what happened, probably other than the fact that we just couldn't sustain where we were. And I don't know now, you know, if we were, I hate to admit that we were living above our means because my husband is so frugal. To him, paying more than $1,200. This was back in 2017. And even though rent was still high back then, it wasn't as high as it is now. But my husband, just $1,200 was too much for him. Now, mind you, that was just rent. It didn't include our utilities and things of that nature. So that was a bit much for him. So we never tried to get anything that we felt we could not afford. To be honest, I don't even know what happened, but yet again, we had to move. So this is the fourth move since we've been back in Georgia. So I didn't see it back then. And it did not start to dawn on me until maybe the sixth or seventh move that was moving back a mistake. I will admit that I did feel that way. And I struggled with feeling, because I'm sure I'm the one that convinced my husband to come back to Georgia because he was at Ford was a good job for him. And I went through a phase where I felt ashamed and did I force him into doing something he didn't want to do? And, I know that my husband has a very difficult time telling me no, even at the detriment of our livelihood. And in my heart, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to bring anything on us, but I have to admit that all of those feelings started to stir up in me because it just felt like nothing we did ever lasted. And that was the hard part. And that was what we were starting to feel, did we make a mistake? And I have to say, did I make a mistake? Because again, my husband, he was doing it because I wanted to do it. So by then we had not yet had to put our things in storage and go and, go back to my daughter, each time we either got behind for some reason or another, we were able to find another place to stay. Now, mind you, what's going on with this, even though, thank God, we've never been evicted, I've learned in my adult journey, and especially I'll say my renting journey, that even when you leave, it is still it's considered a voluntary eviction. And so, mind you, all of that is piling up with us. So we find another place, and I believe this time we moved to Kennesaw because my husband did finally find a more permanent job. And by this time, I get a job working for Ulta Beauty. And I love it. I was a retail manager, and it was in beauty. I absolutely loved it. My husband gets to find a good job, and here we go again. We're starting to feel good. We feel like, maybe this time this is going to be a little bit more permanent. But I still have to admit that in my heart, in the back of my heart, I just felt like, okay, don't get too happy. Don't get too comfortable, because I'm thinking about our past, and every time we exhale a little bit, something happens and we are pushed back 3 steps, and we're back at square one again. And I didn't want to go through that, but in my heart, I didn't want to get too happy. My husband finds a permanent job, which we thought. I'm working. We're doing good. And lo and behold, his company lets him go, laid off. Now, one thing that I didn't think about back then, and I never thought about, was what was my husband doing? Why couldn't he keep a job? I never felt that, because I knew for each job, the reason that he was let go, it was no fault of his own. Whether they were cutting back, laying off, his hours were cut in half, it was never his fault. One of the things that I did was to keep him lifted up, because as a man, I knew what it was doing to him, because it has always been in my husband's heart to take care of us. And I did everything I could to keep him lifted up. But each time he lost a job, we spiraled again. I wasn't making enough to sustain us. And even though he could find a job, it was still that time in between where we got behind. And yet again, we had to move. This time, we had to pack our things up and put it on a 12 by 12. And we had to go live with my daughter. Now, this was when COVID hit. So we are staying with my daughter in Sandy Springs. So we're back in Sandy Springs. My daughter has always been so open and so giving of herself and her space. And, I'm so thankful for her heart. So again, now we are back with my daughter. COVID is going on. The world has shut down. Mind you, my husband found a job. He found a job. And I was still working for Ulta Beauty. And what was so unique about this time when COVID happened was that my company shut down. Our stores shut down, but we were still getting paid. My husband was still working. And we were doing good while we were with my daughter. I even gained income because I had a side hustle where I was sewing masks. So we did so well during COVID. so well. When the world opened back up, we didn't move right away. We were still kind of fearful, but eventually we did. We got another place. And shortly thereafter, my husband lost that job. So I don't even know what place this is, y'all. I've lost count, but we had to move again. So again, now all of these voluntary evictions now are piling up. So not only are we having to move, our rental history is just horrible right now. And being able to find another place is getting more and more difficult. Now I'm going through a phase where I'm starting to question, this back and forth, where or what are we doing wrong? Where is God taking us? What is He showing us? Did we make a mistake moving here? Are we living above our means? What do we need to do? What are we doing wrong? Why are we on this hamster wheel? All right, I'm going to end this day on that note. I'm going to pick up tomorrow where my trouble begins.